this on? Cool. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope everyone's doing okay during this really quite frightening and uncertain time. Today I'm just going to be sharing some thoughts on what's going on and my experience of going through this challenging period as a neurodiverse person. I'm doing this, well, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is that Cambridge University is doing this initiative where they're asking people to keep records, whether that's written down or digital records, like doing a video like what I'm doing, and sharing their thoughts and perspectives of going through this tricky time and how the coronavirus has affected them. So to start off, just a bit about me. I'm coming towards the end of my time doing a drama and history degree. I was supposed to still be at university, so term wasn't supposed to end until this week. So Friday, which I think was the 3rd of April, was meant to be the end of terms for the Easter holiday at the end of spring term. But unfortunately, because the virus hit very, very quickly, the university in the first weeks of March began to stop face-to-face contact. Now, because I'm doing joint honours, I was in a quite interesting and quite a lucky position where it didn't really affect me too much. So for my dissertation, I would only have meetings maybe once a fortnight with my supervisor, but then I'd have classes twice a week for my playwriting module. But it did mean my assessments, particularly for drama, had to change. So for playwriting, there was supposed to be a live rehearsed readings of our plays, but because all contact hours between lecturers and students were suspended, they decided to change that, so we just had to hand in our scripts. And with my dissertation, I just had to use like Skype or Zoom calls with my supervisor. Another thing is I had to rush home very, very quickly, and it was a decision made within a couple of days and it happening within a couple of days. So I came back to Cambridge to my parents' house on the 19th of March. And the reason why I did that was because I felt that if there was suddenly a lockdown where no one was allowed to leave the house, I really felt that I would be more okay and safe if I came back to my parents' house. So then my parents and my sister would be there with me and they would help me muddle through it. Whereas if I'd stayed at university, it would have been much more complicated and I would have felt much more on my own. So if I had been on my own, I was really worried that my anxiety would be really, really challenging and become a much bigger part of me than it normally is. What could have happened was that I could have had panic attacks every day. I could have had like meltdowns as well, which can happen because I'm neurodiverse. So I do know it was the right decision to come back to my parents' house. But so I made the decision to go back on the 17th of March, came back on the 19th of March. So not even within 48 hours I was back. And not going to lie, it's taken me quite a long time to adjust to this change. As a neurodiverse person, change and very sudden change is very difficult for me because I need things to be planned and timetabled in advance, so I feel like I'm in control of my week and of my time. So have had that change, it has really kind of unsettled me. So another thing about all this is through my eyes is, well, I'm not really sure how to say it, but so I know a lot of people in the acting world, and I love theatre and I love musicals, and one of my hopes for Easter before the virus hit was to go and see some of my favourite shows, and go and see shows I hadn't seen before, like And Juliet, and everybody's talking about Jamie, which unfortunately can't happen anymore. And they announced today that they're going to keep the theatres closed until maybe May or June time, I believe. And my heart really goes out to those people in the acting world, because they've lost that source of income and they're missing out on doing what they love. As I said, I know people in the some and it's been interesting seeing how difficult it's been for them, where some of them have applied for universal credit, but unfortunately that hasn't been, some of them haven't got it and others are still waiting. And I've gone, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky to be in the position I am now at this stage, where I'm not in a position where I need to worry about all that, or figure out how I'm going to live on what I already have. So, sorry, as you can see, it's quite a lot to get my head round, and I have seen really positive acts of humanity where people, even people I know, have signed up to be NHS volunteers to help the NHS with what they're doing. People I know are sort of working to go and buy groceries for their elderly neighbours, and are doing that for them. And people are checking in on their neighbours using like FaceTime or going around their houses whilst observing the social distance. But it has been really hard to see how people really haven't been unkind, like hoarding items of food and when they could be very needed by people with like dietary requirements, or people on the autistic spectrum, where people on the spectrum some people are really kind of particular on what food they like to eat. Because, so for example, some people on the spectrum will not eat white or seeded bread, they'll only eat brown bread, or they'll only eat white bread and not brown or seeded bread, and it's very difficult for their families to cater for that. And whilst I know there are a lot of people in the government and they're being advised by people within the medical field about what best to do, I can't really say that I agree with everything that's happening or how things are being put across. But I think the biggest thing that's really kind of alarmed me is how people are disobeying the restrictions and bending them to go out and be in the sunshine and break the social distancing guidelines, which are there for a reason. They are there to protect people and to look after everyone, and the sooner that all this is observed and followed by everyone, the sooner that this will be over. So it's absolutely unbelievable that some people think that it's okay to bend those guidelines for their own reasons. So by putting themselves first, they're endangering the lives of and the welfare of others. So as a member of this generation, it is really kind of upsetting to see, but something that I've talked about with other people my age is that we hope from all this that our voices as this generation will get louder and we will get heard, because we seem to be the main generation that care most about climate change, for example, and so far basically all our needs and all our concerns have been ignored by the government, including that there has been nothing from the government supporting the universities and students who have lost contact hours and who have paid lots of money to be at university. So that bit I will talk about in another video. So I think I've said enough. I'm going to leave with just a quote from Cinderella, and this has helped keep me going, which is, during this time, have courage and be kind. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please stay home, look after yourself, and this will be over eventually. Okay everyone, take care, bye.